Hey everybody, it's Andy here, aka Montolio, and we're back for a Vintage League and playing some Golos Shops today. Been a bit of an uprising recently in Shops in the Vintage metagame, and I don't take a whole lot of cajoling to pick it up and take it into a league prelim or challenge, and we're going to do that today. And not a whole lot to say about this particular list, as you know, Golos Shops is reasonably stocked these days. I have opted to run a second main deck Null Rod, as I do think Null Rod is quite well positioned right now. And I have a Singleton Metamorph. I know Shurkan took Golos Shops to the finals in the Vintage Challenge last weekend. I believe they were running 3 main deck Metamorphs, but I'm just going to run one today, and my land package is relatively stock. I just opted for the 1 Ghost Quarter in my list. I have an Inventor's Fair there as a tutor to go and find whatever it is I may need. And my sideboard is obviously heavily slated towards being able to combat any bizarre strategies. I've got a couple Mindbreak Traps in there for any combo I may run into, as well as the other 2 Null Rods, and some more Worm Coils as Mirror Breakers, certainly good against, well, not the white Lurrus decks, but against the black Lurrus decks, very strong. All right, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Appreciate you hanging out, and we're going to see you in round 1. Okay, so we did not win the die roll. Karn could be very good, but I think it's somewhat contingent on what we draw. I don't have a turn 1 play here outside of Saga, but I think I'm going to just keep this in the cold. Being on the draw makes this a more viable plan, as we're going to be drawing an additional card here. And if there's some world where we can get this turn 1 Karn down, it's typically quite good against what the Vintage metagame is doing. So 1 ring. Okay. So this is likely Jewel we're playing against. So we're probably losing here on the draw to this. We need to draw something good here. Revoker was a good draw. This sets up a bigger turn next turn if I do want a Wasteland. And so this allows us to shut off the 1 ring. Okay, buys us some time. So this is Jewel. Now we could be facing down a coveted Jewel as soon as right now, which would be pretty bad for us if that's the case. We have to hope that my opponent doesn't have that. Okay, a Metamorph. Yep. I copy my Revoker, which is pretty good in this particular situation because it stops me from casting Karn. Okay. And this is, yeah, Mana Vault. Okay. So we need a Soul Lander better here. A Mox works as well. Soul Ring. Okay, that does work. So let's see if we can resolve this Karn. It would be pretty nifty if we could. And it's in. So that's extremely strong. So is there anything we want to get here? I don't think so. So what I think I'm going to do, like, what if they have an Ancient Tomb here? How bad is that for me? Probably pretty bad. I guess my concern would be is them doing something like workshop into a coveted jewel, and that could overpower what I'm doing here. I mean, I'm wastelanding for sure here. I guess it's just a matter of, do I want to tangle with a really big construct? I think not. Next turn, I'm going to be able to start looping wastelands and just take over the game that way. And if they have another Metamorph or Revoker to shut off Karn, I do think that's okay. I'm going to do this. And next turn, I can go and get a Mycosynth Lattice. Potentially, anyways. 3, 4. So I am a mana short from going and getting a Mycosynth Lattice. Ooh, Academy. So this could be a duel, no? Okay. I will block here, of course. Actually, maybe I wouldn't. I don't know. Because I do value being able to take over from... okay. I do value being able to attack into a coveted jewel. So, 3, 4. I probably attack in and see if I can incentivize a block. I'm not overly worried about them attacking into Karn. I think that's okay. They shouldn't block here. So this is 3. I'd love to get the sphere in here as well. What do I have here that I can go and get? That's a 1 mana casting cost. Okay, Grafdigger's Cage to turn off Tinker. I have 4 mana right now. That will put me down to my Karn down to 2. Probably not necessary to do this. I think it's all right just to play a Crucible here. I could slam a Sphere, but I'm just extremely interested in taking them off of mana here. Next turn, I will lock it up almost assuredly. And what do we want to do here? Probably will just stand up my Crucible here. I think that's fine. And this protects my Karn. And they shouldn't have any main deck removal in their deck here. Okay. So this very much feels like Jewel that we're playing against here. Let's make a bit of room. So what seems good against Jewel? Mindbreak Trap, most certainly. And I also think the Null Rods are quite strong here. I do think Tabernacle is not likely to be very good. I think Mystic Forge loses a lot of its potency. Phyrexian Metamorph is decent here for sure. I don't think we want... Maybe we do want Worm Coil. Karn's good. I think Lodestone Golem is just basically obsolete here. The reason is they're just turbo artifact and it goes right through this. Yes, the lodestone on the play certainly is better than it is on the draw here to stop something like a PO perhaps, but it's very limited function. Three ball is still relevant against the PO piece. Maybe I can just take out some Golos. Let's try this. Chalice the Void is still good. We're just going to go in on Nettle Cysts, Urza Saga, and Worm Coils here and try and control the board. I think this hand is fine. The Mindbreak Trap is what pulls this together, that if they go nuts on me, that I have an answer. Have to hope that's enough. Looks like it was. Okay. I think I'm going to put this on the One Ring. I don't have any in my deck, and it seems like it's a pretty reasonable thing to do. And I think we're just going to play an Urza Saga here and pass. And this sets up constructs for us. And where it's a little bit awkward is if my opponent plays their own Urza Saga here. Manifolds. Yeah, that's a good one. Pretty good. Well, they could cast a Coveted Jewel here, if they have that. Okay, they don't. Play the Inventor's Fair here. I really want the ability to Wasteland next turn if I need to. So hopefully our constructs can take over here. We are vulnerable. They don't have blue mana currently. Lauren revealed. Okay, there is their blue mana. So I could die to Vault Key here. Nope. No POs here. Yep. Just trying to see if there's a world I can draw Null Rod or play a Null Rod here, but let's see what we draw first. We don't need to worry about that. I will make a construct here. I didn't have to do it right there, but that's okay. I think I'll just get a Soul Ring here. I mean, it's a little bit awkward, but I think it's okay. We're just we're holding up well here. Oh, Karn. Okay. They stand something up in front of my... Yep, they do. Okay. Sphere. How good is Sphere here? Gonna play it. Well, here's the thing, right? I mean, I don't think I'm overly concerned about Karn here because all my stuff is already shut off with Null Rod. So I think I just attack my opponent, and that turns off their Ancient Tombs. They're going to block. Do I Wasteland them? So what if they get a Lattice here? It doesn't matter, right? Because I just kill their Karn. Okay, I think I'm all right here. They get another turn of standing their stuff up here. And this allows me to make constructs. If I draw another Manning, produce a land, it does keep my Wasteland up. Okay, they are doing something here. Metamorph, yeah, okay. They're down to 4 life, though. And they can stand up their Manifold Key, or they can go and search for something. They've chosen to search for something here. The One Ring, yep. So that will potentially buy them a turn. Now, they can't tap their second Ancient Tomb here. Okay, that's pretty good. That's 5 mana. I can Wasteland now if I so choose to. Attack them. No point in pumping now with the Saga. And they can do it again next turn. I don't think there's a reason for me to Wasteland here, guys. Because they can't tap it twice. And I can't really stop them from doing anything. Because they can only use 1 Ancient Tomb and they have 2 of them. So I can't take them off. Where it's probably better is something like an Urza's Saga. And I'm definitely coming in with lethal this turn. Okay. Okay, here we are in round 2 on the die roll, which is great. Okay, this is a nice looking hand, more or less. It's a little bit light on some interaction, but I guess Urza Saga could shore that up significantly. Okay, so we want to play Sphere Resistance here. I guess I just knocked Chalice down now. And I guess we just play Revoker. Probably. I don't think there's likely a lot they can do. So my opponent plays a little bit of a rogue white deck. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in and I'm going to put it on Dauntless Dismantler. And hopefully we don't get wastelanded. That would be pretty important here. We've had a good start against this type of deck. I'm going to play the Strip Mine here, and the reason is that if I draw something like an Urza Saga next turn, and I'm going to want to play it, and they play a basic, and we had a Wasteland in play, we wouldn't be able to deal with it. And their deck does run basics. Yeah. We don't need to Strip Mine right now. Misstep was a pretty bad draw, unfortunately. But we got a Soul Ring covered if they play one. No land. Okay. That's not a very good draw for us. We are actively looking for lands here. Urza Saga being our best right at the moment. They found an Ancient Tomb. That's a pretty good one. Guess I don't need to do it right now. Okay, that's a good draw. Forge is pretty good if I can ever get it into play. Okay. There's a Saga, and that's a great draw for us. Now, if my opponent draws a land, they're going to be a wasteland. They're going to be incentivized to waste that versus trying to deploy stuff onto the board. So this is probably a pretty tough match for me, what we're playing against here. In all honesty, I think on the draw, we're really just wanting our mana to matter. Could see a Worm Coil or two potentially coming in. I think Thorn probably is not at its best here. I'm not going to bring in Mindbreak Trap. Mental Misstep is probably a very limited value as well, but I'm going to keep it because I think it's probably better than most of the other options we're looking at. So this hand does have a Dismember. I think I keep this because if they've got something like a Chancellor, this allows me to play a Mox that I can pay for, and then I can follow up with Dismember into a big turn one play, potentially. My hand is not very good in general outside of that, so I am reliant on my draw here to somewhat clean up my mess, but against these type of decks, quite often what they're looking to do is just have a really big turn one play. And sometimes it's enough. I mean, Black Lotus is exactly what they're looking to do here. So they're going to deploy their whole hand turn one. Seasoned Engineer. Yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate for me. That's big initiative creature is pretty scary. Hopefully this is all they do here and they don't have a Thalia to follow this up. Thalia is pretty bad for me. Dismantler. Okay. Well, I mean, that's good. This comes into play tapped. Unless I want to kill the Dismantler, which certainly is not what I want to be doing. See where they put the Forge here. If they use the Forge, I mean. And if they put it on the Dismantler, I think that's totally fine. Okay, that's good. We got away with that at least. But of course, I am going to have some difficulty likely taking the initiative from them this game. Yep, okay. Okay. So they're hellbent. I can't stop this because this with Tabernacle, if I can shut that Mana Crypt off, is pretty powerful. It's legendary, so a Caracas could help clean that up. Against my better judgment, I am going to play the Sphere here. I'm not going to play... I should have probably paid the Tabernacle there. No, I played Ghost Quarter, excuse me. We're losing this. Six, yep. They mulliganed to 5, but they had a Black Lotus into a Mana Crypt turn, and that is pretty hard on me. Do you think we probably want this stuff back in? I like the Worm Coils, but I don't know if they're that good. I think Mental Misstep is not great, and I also don't think Pithing Needle is likely where I need to be here. I do feel like Worm Coil could be really powerful against them. But I'm just going to run it like this. Okay. Chalice is really good, and so is Spheres. Now, I am somewhat required to be able to find mana and threats here before my opponent is able to overcome what I'm playing. But I do have 2 turn 1 Spheres here. Oh, they've got a Chancellor. Okay, so that is not great for me. I feel like what I do here is, and it's a little bit risky, but I just hate the thought of burning my Lotus here and losing a mana on it. So I'm just going to do this and pass. Like, I don't anticipate my opponent's going to be able to do much here other than play a land pass, but if they have a Soul Ring, that I guess that would be the card that could get them out of this. And so it's a risk. Oh, look at that. They didn't have another land. They just were all in on fast mana. Land. Okay, I will take that all day long. Now, can I sit back on this? I probably can. I don't think I need to play the Sphere here because they didn't play a land. And perhaps use my Lotus towards something that can have a presence on the board. Okay. Oh, wow. That's 4. So what I'm going to do is this. This actually, I probably don't even need to do that. I have so much mana here. So I'm going to have 3, 4, 5. I guess I just get a Golos, right? Or I could put a Nettlecyst into play right now. That's not bad. Or I could go and get a Mystic Forge. I think I like that. I guess Crucible might have been better now that I'm thinking about it. Wasteland, okay. Now we're looking for land. That is not what I want. That's a dead card. Okay. Well, kind of got myself into trouble unnecessarily here. I mean, that was a really good wasteland from my opponent. It's not going to be easy for them to get out of this, but I will burn the Golos here. We're just actively looking for land. So the Mystic Forge is good that way. It helps me filter, but I was doing this play based on having my Academy here. Rolker is fine because I can cast it. Oh, can't cast that. Okay. We'll burn that as well. I like the Nettlecyst a lot, but we're just not there. We need mana, and we just have so many good draws off the top of our deck once we find mana. Yep, that works. Now my opponent is once again incentivized to have to kill this if they're able. I'm going to put this on Dauntless. Yep, they've conceded. Okay, nice win for us there, guys. Okay, round 3. We are on the draw. And my opponent has revealed a Lurrus. This hand is not very good against a Wasteland deck. I just think we can do a lot better. And this looks really nice. I actually believe Golos is the odd man out here. Yeah. because I value my lands very highly, and the Sphere and Revoker are going to be extremely disruptive at low mana curve here, and Nettle Cyst is my finisher. So that's what I think we're going to do here. My Sphere is not likely to resolve, is my guess. But if my opponent plays a Mox, of course I will play out my Workshop and expose that, and we'll do Revoker into Sphere. Okay. I'm going to play my Mox. If they want to counter this, that's fine. Yep. I don't really want to do a blind Revoker. The Saga doesn't really work out that well. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to play my Ancient Tomb, and I'm going to play Sphere Resistance, which is likely to get Force and Negation here. Dig Through Time, okay. And they're very likely to Wasteland me here. They're going to Bobble and Wasteland is my guess. The reason I didn't want to play the Urza Saga here is I'm going to want to tap for mana next turn to start expediting my stuff. Hopefully it's not Time Walk. I did not want to see there. Okay, what we're going to have to do is, I mean, it's going to be tough for us from here. My opponent's had a pretty nice start with Ancestral and Time Walk into the Force, so we're going to have a hard time winning here. If they don't have a land or a Mox, we're all right. Okay, they do have a land. Five cards left here. So let's see. I mean, presumably they're going to be making constructs here because they're going to be pretty powerful. Do they try and set up a Lurrus here? I mean, they will. Crucible of Worlds is not ideal here. So we're going to play this first so we can play around Spell Pierce. And I will pay. And then we're going to play the Revoker, and we're going to try and set the Revoker on Black Lotus. Okay. And we'll do this. Black Lotus. See if this resolves. And here we go. And they're just going to make constructs, is my guess. The good news is their constructs aren't going to be massive here. Hopefully my Revoker on Lotus slows them down quite a bit. It's a fairly polarizing match, the Lurrus Shops matchups. We're on the draw this one, and my opponent has had what I would deem a higher than average Lurrus hand. Higher than average opener. So they're going to pull Lurrus to hand here by the looks of things. They're not making a construct. And they can play Lurrus this turn. I do have Caracas in my deck. A card I wouldn't mind having in my deck is Bajuka Bog. Yeah, so they want Soul Ring. Okay, they just pull. Well, they can continue and make constructs here. Wasteland, okay. Lurrus. Nope, constructs, okay. Yeah, I probably would have blocked there. So, I do have recurring sagas here. I'm just going to play this. I can't really play around Spell Pierce. If they have days, I think that's good for them. But I'm not going to play around it because I'm likely just going to play... I mean, I don't know. Maybe I just play the Saga here. Saga will pump up my Phyrexian here. I will put this on as a Saga. Actually, maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know. Because theirs is about to go away. Mine's just coming into play. Maybe I can put it on Bauble. Mishra's Bauble. Yeah, I think that's probably better. I can start making my own constructs here if this resolves. I think it would not make sense for me to shut off recurring Urza Saga because I will catch up very quickly to what my opponent's doing. Okay, so they did have the Spell Pierce. So I probably am going to shut off Urza Saga now. I mean, it's a tough call. Because theirs are going to be, right, so it's going to be 4, 5. This will be a 5, 5. I just maybe name hers as Mishra's Bauble. Yeah, and I'll keep my Saga around. I get punished if they have a Wasteland for this line, but that's okay. And what I can do here is, if I can trade with one of their constructs, I think that's reasonable because I can move the Nettle Cyst over to my Phyrexian Revoker. Okay, key is pretty reasonable. Okay, so they're just going to Vault Key me here. So we'll see if they have the actual mana to do it here. I can't stop the cast. Yep. Okay. They got me. Okay. I feel like Wormcoil is pretty good against the blue-black version. They do like Misstep in this match. Probably can get rid of Tabernacle. I think I'm going to try this, and I might move to Null Rods on the draw. Because my opponent has Wastelands, I feel like I just want to employ my own strategy here. And Soul Guide Lantern, despite not great in this matchup, it can hurt their graveyard. And I'm not going to bulk at a turn 1 Lodestone Golem here. Hopefully it resolves. Library Trap. Interesting. I did not anticipate that. I guess I could have played around that pretty easily. But I didn't anticipate my opponent would be focused on. They're just going to pull Luris. Top, okay. Another strong start from my opponent. Can play around Spell Pierce here. Okay, they're thinking about negation here. And what do we want to put it on? Probably Sensei's Top, right? Sensei Divining Top. Okay, they have a swords in hand here. So they spent their turn doing that. And next turn, we can get another Revoker if we so chose to. Crucible of Worlds is really strong here, too. I cannot cast Crucible currently. Yeah. So we'll end a turn, do that. See if I can get them to tap down. What's really awkward for me is if they have something like a Serenity. So they're very low on resources here. I would imagine they're going to pull Luris to hand here. They're just sitting up on Force of Negation here. Golos is pretty good here. I have a feeling that they're on Force of Negation. That's the issue I have. I really like Crucible, but I feel like Golos just might be better. Yeah, I think Golos is fine here. And I have 3 Crucibles in the deck, so I can find those at some point. So they can't hard cast a Force here, so I'm going to do this. A little bit unfortunate here that I'm going to need to tap my Manifold. Okay, that's good. Do I just get an Urza Saga here? Probably. It's awkward, guys, but they have a Wasteland. They're not in the worst spot. Okay, they have a Force of Will here, or a Force of Negation. It's Astral. Okay. Good draw from my opponent there. So I'm not really liking my spot here. It starts really with me not losing my Urza Saga. And of course, Serenity is just ends the game. Not easy for them to cast their Sensei's Top here. Okay, Lavinia. It's actually surprisingly good against me here. I probably could just pay for this in all truthfulness and not do anything this turn. I think I'm going to do that. Okay, a bit punished for doing that. I guess I can just do it again. It's mana neutral. I guess -1 mana, but that's okay. I think we're going to put it on Mox Pearl. I mean, Sensei's Top is an option, but I really like restricting their mana here as much as I can. Okay, Lauren Revealed was a pretty reasonable option. It's the second one. Top, yep. Okay. So we're coming through for quite a chunk of damage here. This time I'm not going to untap this. Please attack into my construct. I mean, we're going to be putting quite a bit of pressure on my opponent here. So paying some life here with an active Mana Crypt Mana Vault in play is not optimal, but it's the world we're living in. And of course, I have been losing flips here. That's, I think, my third in a row. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I can cast a Crucible here. No, I can't. I guess the question is do I want to shut off their top? I cannot cast a Crucible regardless because of Lavinia. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut off their Sensei's top. I think I just attack with everything here. Yeah. Wants his Mox. Okay. I guess I could have cast my Crucible, but I think shutting off their top is pretty reasonable. Now they know I can't cast anything. I guess I couldn't have cast it, the Crucible. Yeah, I could have. Here's Lurrus. That'll buy them a turn unless I rip a Caracas. Okay, I think we got this one here. Lost every flip, guys. They have no counter magic up. And, I mean, do I really want to lose 2 life to get another land in play here? I don't know that it even matters. I can just lose 2 life any which way. But yeah, Crucible's probably just the better card here. They gain some life. There's a Saga I like. And I could just... I think the life, I hate to admit it, might just really matter here. They have to block with Lurrus. It will keep them alive. I will have to untap my Mana Vault next turn. They're at 3. They lost their Lurrus. Okay. That's more how things are supposed to go. Now, do we want Null Rods here? I probably don't need all of them. So we've seen Swords to Plowshares. I actively do not think Worm Coil is good here. And I do think that having the Tabernacle is worth it, because if I get into a position where I have a Crucible lock going and I can get a Null Rod on the table, Tabernacle will clean up their entire board. Excuse me. Chalice is worth keeping in here. Okay. What do I think of this hand? Don't think it's very good, to be honest. Just think we can do better. Fantastic. Okay. think I can put the needle away. Okay, drawing the land there is actually solid. I'm going to play the 3-ball here because I don't really have a choice not to attempt a turn 1 3-ball. It's just so powerful. And I expect this to be countered, but if it doesn't get countered, it's very good for me because I have 2 other lands to follow up their wasteland. Okay. I can't believe it's in. So they're just really in on wasteland here. Which is not unreasonable. I guess I didn't need to tap that, did I? A little bit sloppy, but that's all right. Take away their Urza's Saga here. Okay, this is going well so far. They do have another land here, so they may be able to get out from underneath this at some point. Certainly Serenity is a really scary card here. What do we want to do here? Probably strip mine, right? Well, yeah. Quite a bit of pressure. My opponent needs to have the extra land here to get underneath my Trinisphere. Serenity is the card that scares me. Okay. So we're going to get an Academy there, which, yeah, I mean, Academy was going to ice the game for sure. Just metamorph another Nettle system. Likely would have just equipped it right there. 1, 2, 3. How would I have done this here? So first things first. 3, I'm going to pay 2 life. Going to make a metamorph into a Nettle Cyst, which would be 1, 2, 3, 4. Tap my Academy. And that would have put me back 2 to make a construct. I would have had 2 floating. I would have moved it over, and then I'll just back onto this one. Be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, we would have been hitting for lethal in addition to being able to strip mine. Okay, guys, here we are. Won the die roll, round 4. Yeah, this is a strong looking hand here. See if this resolves. My opponent doesn't like that. Okay, I am going to tap out for the second sphere here. If we're playing against a wasteland deck, it's might not be the optimal line to take, but putting my opponent behind a sphere is pretty solid. Yeah. Okay, I like that a lot. That's really fortuitous for me. If they have another Force of Will, it's not optimal. I like the land because that's going to set up a Saga Tomb. So this could be rug. Okay, I like how that sequence turned out for us here. Perhaps I should be putting this on Lauren revealed here, but we're really just trying to lock my opponent out. Love another sphere here. That would be sweet. Okay, Mox is fine. And if we can get them to brick for another turn here, I feel like we're really off to the races. Okay. Okay, we're just on Saga here. I have a feeling that we're playing against Rug. And if we are playing Rug, I think Wormcoil is definitely worth considering. Probably Karn is not amazing here. I do like Tabernacle because of the creatures, like my misstep. So we obviously have a little bit too much here. Probably can get rid of a Metamorph here, but just because of the presence of removal. So we need to make 2 cuts. Is Wormcoil worth cutting? Maybe I'll cut 1. So they're almost, if I think they're playing what they're playing, they could be on Collector Roofs. Good against Planeswalkers. I think I want my fast mana. I mean, Mystic Forge just could be the odd man out here. Okay, let's try this out. My reasoning for removing Mystic Forge is negation turns it on. Collector Roof nullifies its potency to some extent. Okay, I think this is reasonable on the draw. And I could be just completely wrong, guys, about what I'm playing against. I do like Soul Ring, I can tell you that much. It's a magnificent draw because it allows me to do a Chalice for... See if this can get through a misstep. Do I do Lodestone here? No. The reason I played this out is I want to get it through a Spell Pierce, and if my opponent forces this here, we will play a Sphere and just hope. Okay, so they've got something. Hopefully it's not an Ancestral. Okay. Let's see if we get that through. Fantastic. Now, Force of Vigor is definitely a thing out of these decks. Yeah, so they're on Vigor here is my guess. No. Still have Vigor here. I probably should have sequenced this a little bit differently, to be honest. because now they configure my lodestone. Yeah. Not optimal. What do they go for is the question. I mean, certainly they're going to kill my lodestone. Yeah, I should have thought that one through a little bit. Okay, so they're going to go for Wasteland here. And try and lock me under my own sphere, which is not unreasonable. The problem for that line is that if I find a workshop here or an academy, I'm right back in business. Okay, I did brick, so they made the right choices here. Okay, they're short too. Not optimal. There it is. Just resolves. Okay, great. They vigor here? Nope. Not even sure if that's what they're playing, but that's the card that scares me the most at a low casting cost. Can't cast Deathrite. And if we find another land next turn, we can cast Golos. Okay. All right. Opponent is dead next turn. Okay. Okay, guys, here we are in round 5, and we're playing for a trophy. We didn't win the die roll, and this hand is not going to work. Gonna have to mulligan this one. We've got 3 lands that none of them expedite what we're trying to do here. This, however, I do like. I think Pithing Needle. The problem with getting rid of Pithing Needle is Saga. I am somewhat vulnerable to it right now, but I do have a Karn that if I need to, I probably can go and I have first of all a Ghost Quarter, and secondly, yeah, these are going to go. It's a nice hand. Wasteland. Immediately getting punished. See if this can resolve. Okay, my opponent lets it go. My opponent won't know what I'm on here. Okay. Okay. See if they find a force of will here. Okay. Next turn we can cast a Karn. Hopefully, anyways. Well, that does inhibit my ability to do that because Saga is not a card I really want to see here. Let's draw a Sphere. Okay, Ancient Tomb is not ideal here. So I suspect my opponent has a Bowmaster. But let's see if they float a mana here. Okay, this is a Bowmaster. Okay. And I have no play. Okay, here we go. We kind of missed a little bit of a window there, not drawing something relevant last turn. But that's what happens when you play workshops. It just, you're reliant off the top of your library. Okay. Not interested in wastelanding by the looks of it. I find that hard to believe. I mean, how do you resist? It'd take a lot of discipline not to do it, but they do realize that they're likely low on mana. Forge, that's a nice one. I'm not going to take any damage here. I think I am going to bait with Karn because I think the Forge has a lot higher upside here. Probable Force of Negation here. But let's see. What can we get? Okay, they do let it resolve. I'm not far off a Wormcoil here. 4, 5, 6. But that will require me to shut this thing off. So I don't get wastelanded. I think that's worth it. Let's go get a Sorcerer's Spyglass here and see. Or I could get a Lattice as well, but we'll deal with that after. And they might... Okay, Op Agent, Hull Breacher. These are all really scary. They don't have another land. And I just can't imagine a world where they would strip mine me anyways, but let's see. I'm going to take strip mine away. And next turn we're going to have a Forge going. Or a Wormcoil, potentially. My opponent's hand would have a lot of trouble beating a Wormcoil. But they're going to attack my Karn here for sure. Hopefully they just weren't able to set up a land here. Oh, nice. Okay, very nice. Yeah, it was a good time walk for sure. I get my Karn. It's pretty good. So they're looking for a strip mine here, or a wasteland almost assuredly. Ooh, that was good. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think this is fine. I guess the question is, does my opponent have a basic in their deck? And we are going to wasteland them here with the Ghost Quarter, and we're going to find out. We're going to do it the Null Rod first, though, just to ensure that my opponent can't respond to their Sensei's top. Yep, so they did have one. Okay. Good deck building. So we are losing here. We're going to need some help off the top. Probe, okay, they don't want to pay any life. I think that they were in a position that they could pay life there, but chose not to. Okay, it's kind of now or never, I think. We need to find something like a Golos or a Nettle Cyst. Okay, we didn't. And we're going to lose as a result, I think, because my opponent now is about to cast a Narset. Because they're under no pressure. Oh, Wasteland, okay. Yeah, Narset is the correct one here because they really want to dig for a Force of Will. No guarantees that that's what they'll find, but okay, Demonic Tutor is a really nice one. Sets up Tinker for them. Okay, that is not optimal because I can't use it. Now they can Demonic Tutor. I can't actually use Inventor's Fair with Opposition Agent, at least when it's live. Force of Will. Yeah, so they're going to get me here. All right. There was a Nettle Cyst. I wasn't going to resolve. Okay, so I mean, I think Null Rod is decent against them. I think I'm going to try something like this. See how we do. I do think Null Rod is relevant against them. But I don't think I want to go all in on null rod. Like, I have all four. I think that's more for jewel shops. Okay. Yeah. Nice looking hand. Okay. So let's think about this. So we're going to have 5, 6 mana potentially. And that doesn't really facilitate getting Karn down easily. But what I could do is I could go Crucible into Nettlecyst, but Karn is just so good turn 1. How do I do this? First things first, let's see if we can get a Black Lotus going. But we want Karn down turn 1. See if they missed up this. I hope they don't. And hopefully we didn't play into a Mind Break trap. Very strong turn 1 play if it resolves. Okay, so I think we're in a position here, guys, where we want to go off. And I mean, I could get a null rod, but I don't actually think that that's relevant because we have a Karn in play here. Do we just go and get the Spyglass again? I think so. See if we can shut off a fetch land. Let's see what we're dealing with here. So they have a Wasteland, but a Wasteland isn't going to do much against me. They have Tabernacle, so we're just going to hit Lorien Revealed here. Right, that works. So my opponent likely is going to Wasteland me here. Okay. Okay. I think we're set up pretty well here. Yeah, it's a nice looking hand. It's not perfect, but it's nice looking. Should my opponent not have a crazy broken turn 1, null rod can certainly slow down what they're doing. They have Wasteland. Oh, interesting. Once again, get me pretty good with the Thoughtseize. I wonder if they take the Worm Coil. They did. Okay. They must have a counter spell for null rod here. Oh, they're just going straight for Lorien Revealed. Smart. Underground Sea, I know about. Gonna get Null Rod down. And I think I put this down. I'm just not sure what they're playing, but do I put it on Urza's Saga? Or do I put it on Lauren Revealed? I think Lorien Revealed. Chalice doesn't really do much at 0 here now because of the presence of Null Rod, so I don't think I have to react with that right now. I can set it at 1 next turn, which is fairly strong. This is likely a Bowmaster. What are we looking for off the top? Crucible of Worlds would be good. Nettlecyst would be good. Golos would be good. Sphere of Resistance would be good. Strip Mine would be good. Demonic Tutor. Okay. Well, Chalice at 1 is likely to be strong here. Now, if they go for Tinker, that's not great for me. Okay. I am going to Wasteland. Really trying to slow them down here. Put this at 1. And here we go. Okay, if they got an Ancestral, the Chalice is really nice here. Okay, Wasteland, yep. No go away. I feel like they're trying to set up a Tinker here. Because I have so many lands, I know I'm 2 for 1ing myself here. I'm just going to do it. I'm just trying to run them out of resources. Jeez, I don't think my opponent's lost a Crypt Flick yet. Okay. One again. 5 flips in a row they've won. So I am, for better or worse, I'm going to make constructs here. I can strip mine them, and I hope I don't get punished for this. But I feel like making constructs here and trying to end the game is first, and then we will go after their mana. And so they did find another mana source. We cannot be opposition agent, but we will, with all likelihood, end up getting Bowmastered here. I mean, I can cast Golos right now, but I think it's more important here to... okay, they conceded to take them off their land here. All right, guys, nice trophy for us there. Deck felt really good. Uh, I don't know that I'd make any changes at this point in time. I mean, there's so many flex slots that you can do in this deck, and I think at its core, this is pretty powerful. The most obvious spot is do you want to have 2 Manol Rods main? Do you want to be running Nettle Cysts? Do we want more control out of the sideboard like Mind Break Traps? So anyways, I thought the deck performed really well, and we got a fairly good depiction of what the metagame looks like. I beg your pardon, excuse me. We didn't run into Bazaar, I don't believe, but outside of that, we saw a little bit of everything. And yeah, as always, guys, appreciate you.